Pregame.com.
Saturday, college football action. Syracuse at Louisville. A Big East battle. Not going to be long for us to keep saying Big East.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like running like, rats from a sinking ship on the Big East. But Syracuse at Louisville. VR, you got a free pick here. I'm going to counterpunch you on this one. Go ahead and take it away.
I really like Louisville in this spot. I think this line's short. It opened 3.5. It's at 3. We all know that most professional bettors like to get the best of the number 3. So if it's 3.5, they think the line's going to go down. They're always going to take the points. It doesn't necessarily make it a true position for them. Just like they'll lay 2.5. It doesn't make it a true position. It's simply taking advantage of that number 3.
Getting the best end of it.
Exactly, and in this case, that's exactly what they've done. The reason I like Louisville, and you never want to take advantage of a tragedy, but if you watch that last game, I had Louisville against Rutgers, and when Anthony Connor went down, there was like shell shock in the stadium and the players, and even though Louisville went on to win and cover for us that game, the players looked in shock. Like they didn't want to keep playing. You know what I mean? It was like that kind of atmosphere where you just saw...
There's no player that can see that happen and doesn't think that could have been me.
Exactly. And I think that shock, that initial shock, is now past. And now that's a motivator. I think Charlie Strong is a good enough coach to not take advantage of the situation, but to refocus his team and realize we have a job to do. We have to continue playing. Let's play for, Connor. Let's go out there and do what we got to do. And I think that the team is capable of doing that. More importantly, Syracuse is coming off the biggest win of their season. I mean, it's a goalpost knockdown type of win. Students rushing the field, beating West Virginia as a huge dog. But let's not forget, Syracuse owns West Virginia. For some reason, they give that team problems.
Or at least the quarterback.
Exactly.
He's thrown, I think in the 2 games against Syracuse, he's thrown almost as many.
The season. Yeah, exactly. So I wasn't surprised. I liked Syracuse that night. I was on Syracuse that night. But I think this is just one of those bounce back spots where they're going to come out flat, and Syracuse is going to, Louisville's going to come out extra motivated. After what happened to their fallen teammate, who, thank the Lord, broke his neck, but he's not paralyzed. It's career-ending, but the kid's not paralyzed, and hopefully he recovers. With that said, I don't think Syracuse is the kind of team that could win that kind of big game on national TV and then bring that kind of effort the following week on the road against a team who's beaten them back-to-back years. For some reason, Louisville has a good, easy time with Syracuse. Even when they're a dog to them, they win. So when they're a favorite, I definitely think they get it done.
Well, they've already set a precedent. Earlier this year, Syracuse pulled off a win over Toledo, which Toledo, I know, is a step down from the Big East, but Toledo is one of the 2 best teams in the MAC.
Yeah.
They followed that win up with just a flat effort against Rutgers. They only scored 16 points at home to Rutgers in the next game, lost 19-16. I'm looking at this team, and I'm looking at it right now the way John Q. Public's going to look at this. Even though Louisville won, they're going to look and say, it was 16-14. Ho-hum, boring, yawner.
Yeah.
And they're going to look at Syracuse, 49-23. Ton of points, put a beating on them, and they're a dog.
Yep.
Okay, they're going to line up to take Syracuse. And
yeah.
And I never say that teasers in college football are good propositions, because they're not.
Yeah.
How many people?
They're going to be all over the tease on
Syracuse,
because Louisville isn't a team that's known to score points. So it's tough to cover double digits when you don't light up the scoreboard. What I see in this game is simple. We have a common opponent, and the scores looked very similar. They both played Rutgers. They were both -1 to Rutgers. Syracuse lost by 3. Louisville won by 2. But more importantly, Louisville had to overcome a -2 turnover ratio, and they still beat Rutgers. To me, that tells me, even though they were both -1 in that game, that Louisville's the better team. Add in home field advantage, this line should be 4.5.
Yeah.
You know,
just correct you on one thing. They actually were +2 against Rutgers on the turnovers.
Louisville was?
Yeah, Rutgers had the 3 turnovers.
And Syracuse was -1?
Syracuse was against Rutgers +1. Syracuse was +1 on the turnovers. They had
Louisville was +2?
And Louisville was +2.
All right, all right.
Just on that, but still, the one thing, but it doesn't take away from Louisville at all. I just don't want you to misquote there. The one thing that does go in Louisville's favor, Louisville is dynamite against stopping the run. They have held Kentucky to 35 yards rushing. They held Rutgers to 91. Now, Florida International is a Sun Belt team, but they held them to 45 yards rushing. If you take Rutgers' rush game away and force this quarterback, I believe they have a freshman quarterback.
Louisville.
Or Rutgers quarterback. If Louisville forces the Rutgers quarterback to have to beat them through the air, or Syracuse. I'm sorry. Syracuse boot them through the air. I don't trust Syracuse through the air.
I agree with you. I mean, I think this is a definite play. It's a line value play. It's a bounce back where you expect the team to come out flat. You have extra motivation on the Louisville side. I mean, everything points to taking Louisville, and I think we're going to be on the side the bookmakers need as well.
Right. There's no question. Syracuse is going to get the money in this game.
This is only the third road game for Syracuse, and if you look at the other two, I'll give them a pass. They got blown out by USC.
Yeah.
You had to go out to the West Coast. Right. It'll happen. But they only beat Tulane by 3. So this team does not play well out of the Carrier Dome, and now they got to go to Louisville. I love Louisville in this spot. I think at -3, there's a lot of value. That's my play in this game.
The other thing, I agree with you, and to point one thing out on Syracuse, they don't play defense.
Yeah, yeah.
They have given up, 34, like you said, to Tulane. They gave up 30 to Toledo, 38 to Southern Cal. Wake Forest scored 29 on them at the beginning of the season. The highest amount of points Louisville's allowed this year was 25 points on the road at Cincinnati, and Cincinnati has a good offense.
Yeah. Now, they're a phony 5-2 is where you're taking advantage, you know?
And Louisville, on the flip side, is an underrated
3-4, exactly.
So I agree with you. Vegas Runner's free pick is to take Louisville at home minus the points. I agree with them, so you got my blessing as well. So that's 2 of us again agreeing. You want to call for a score?
I think this game's going to be a little higher scoring than most expect. I'll go with Louisville 28 to 21. I think we're going to go right around that range, 28-20. I think we get Louisville and the over. That's my play for Saturday. And got some good bombs to drop on Saturday's college football. I've gone 6-2 the last 3 Saturdays on my biggest bets in college. And I've now won 5 straight college games in my biggest bets, and I haven't lost a college football total. I haven't found one yet for Saturday, but I'm still looking. I'm very selective. Right. I haven't lost one yet this year, but I have isolated a game that's worthy of an upgrade. So, and the NFL is jumping out, just jumping off the board. We're going to come back with a best bet for the NFL.
We've got one more. We're going to do one more college video. We're going to come back and do Clemson at Georgia Tech, and then we're going to jump into the NFL with VR's best bet in the NFL. We'll be right back. Clemson and Georgia Tech's up next.